What's up guys, Rolandas here. Today is 11.5 months after my hair transplant surgery with Dr. Bruno Ferreira in Portugal, and it's obviously almost a final result, so I'm gonna share with you my overall thoughts about my hair transplant. Some of you might know that I already booked for my second hair transplant and I'm still waiting from Dr. Ferreira for like a finer details. As soon as I know this, I'll make sure to update you guys on that. I had 3,659 grafts implanted in the frontal third, which was almost completely bald. And also on this channel, I'm sharing different tips and tricks about hair loss and hair transplant, so if you're new here, consider subscribing. And there's one thing that you can do to help me out, is smashing that like button. So YouTube algorithm gods pushed my video to more people, to a broader audience, so more people can be helped out. So it's 11.5 months. It's almost unbelievable that pretty much the whole year went so quickly. It's been a life-changing experience. I didn't have any hair in the front. Now I've got some hair. And while last year my only worries was how I can possibly cover my thinning area, this year I've got new challenges. How I can possibly style it to still cover my balding mid-scalp and crown. Don't tell anyone that I'm balding. So some of you guys mentioned that my hair is getting way too long, especially on the sides and on the back, and I completely agree with you. Problem, however, is that the barbers are closed in the UK right now, so I cannot really go anywhere and cut my hair. And I also don't fancy cutting my own hair. I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna screw it up completely. So what I found is I'm able to rock this particular hairstyle with no problems, which is covering my thinning mid-scalp and crown pretty well without any use of any concealers whatsoever. And if you haven't watched my previous video when I showed how I'm styling my hair, make sure to check it out just over here. And because I promised you guys that I'm not gonna be cutting top part of my hair until I'm gonna reach 1 year mark, which is gonna happen in the end of January. So I had my surgery done in 2020, January 28th and 29th. So we still have 2 weeks roughly until then. So stick around and see what I'm gonna do basically afterwards. So the other day I decided to film quick video when I was outside, just quickly basically put some hair product in the morning just before getting out of the house. And surprisingly, it was looking pretty good actually. I was pretty surprised how quickly and easy I can style my hair right now. Just watch this. So some people saying that my hairline looks pretty thin, but I just did this hairstyle in the morning. It took me literally 10 minutes. What I did, wash my hair, blow dry, put some product in it, 10 minutes, all done, job's done, went out. And have a look at this. I didn't put any fibers, anything, just my crown is pretty bald in there, I think. But yeah, I think it looks pretty good. Whoops, was my bus. Anyways, look at that, there is some sun. So let's have a look from the close-up. Hairline looks pretty good and solid, to be honest. And I'm really surprised to have, after 11.5 months, such pretty thick looking result, especially considering my hair characteristics. I've got 50 to 51 microns of my hair shaft diameter, which is considered pretty thin. So some people have possibly twice thicker hair than mine. So it's very important to understand this fact, because so many people across the board that are looking and assessing hair transplant results that they see online, they pretty much never think about how thick the hair is. And that can be one of the major reasons why your hair transplant looks thin or thick. And of course there are other things like how many grafts per centimeter square were implanted, and also what's the average hair per graft ratio, which obviously contributes a lot. But from my understanding, hair shaft diameter is one of the crucial things to determine how thick your result gonna look like. So that's when you see some pictures that a guy had like a 2,000 or 3,000 grafts and it looks so much thicker than someone had like a 5,000 grafts in the same area. What the f***? So anyways, if you're gonna have a look at the close-ups that I just did pretty much 10 minutes ago, it looks pretty decent, like in terms of density, even though my hair is pretty thin. But once the hair is like overlapping each other, it creates this illusion of density, which is basically, that's how hair transplant works. But I somehow feel like if I would buzz my hair down to, let's say, 1 millimeter or something, it would not look as thick. And obviously we're gonna find this out pretty soon when I'm gonna go for my second hair transplant. Like I promised you guys, I'm gonna make plenty of videos and pictures immediately when they're gonna buzz my hair down to 1 or even 0 millimeters, so I can check how exactly my recipient hair looks like after the whole year, basically after the final result of my hair transplant, and how it looks with the buzz cut. I'm also hoping to be able to count every single graft and compare it to my first post-operational pictures, just to kind of analyze if it's how much transaction rate, if it makes sense. If we're gonna put picture, you know, A to B with pretty much the same length, we're gonna be able to see how here is implanted grafts, and here this graft is pretty much missing, so it's dead, you know, it didn't survive. Because as we all know, hair transplant does not have 100% survival rate. Although in good hands, this can be way above 90%, which is considered good. Of course, you can see better density in this particular angle when I'm parting my hair. And if you notice, like, it does not look really that thick. There is decent amount of gaps in between, but overall, when the hair is longer, like I said, it's just overlapping on each other and looks pretty decent. So that's basically one of the reasons why you normally see guys that had a hair transplant, why they like wearing longer hairstyles. Like, because hair transplant is just an illusion. It doesn't look as good when it's thin, unless the guy had a really thick hair and it's been packed with the grafts, like 60 plus grafts per centimeter square. Always it's worth keeping in mind, where did they start? How did they start? How my hair looked before hair transplant? And in terms of my second surgery, as I said, I'm still waiting for Dr. Ferreira for some finer details about his plan. But so far what he said is pretty funny. We can work on any area that we decide to work on, because I have the donor for it. So that's really reassuring, and obviously as soon as Dr. Ferreira will reply to me, I'm gonna make another separate video on that to go in depth. I'm gonna be making a really interesting update on my 1 year mark after my hair transplant surgery, which is gonna happen in a couple of weeks from now. I'm gonna be asking quite a few people who've seen me before my hair transplant how I looked, and what do they think about my hair transplant. How it looks, is natural, and etc, you know? I'm just gonna try to get their honest opinion. And keep in mind, these people really don't know much about hair restoration, so this would be really interesting to see whether or not people will know that I had a hair transplant or not. So if you want to see it, stick around, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, comment down below, that would help the algorithm to push this video so more people gonna see unbiased opinions about hair transplant and hair loss. And by the way, if you're enjoying my content and you support what I do, you could also support me on a Patreon, or you can even buy me a coffee or a beer. Link's gonna be in the description down below. I appreciate guys that are already signed up for Patreon, or a couple of guys bought me a couple of beers, which is great. All the funds are going towards my second hair transplant because I still have to pay for it. So if you want to be a proud owner of 1 centimeter square of real estate on my scalp with some hair, feel free to support me. I will leave links in the description down below. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. So here is my hair transplant result. Looks pretty good. Look how thick it is. Crazy, huh? Look, on the direct sunlight.